working as hard as we can in order to get it restored. We're also working on water main breaks. We've been doing that every day, and we'll continue to do that until we get all of them completed. We have roughly had 80 calls for breaks that have come through the 311 office. We have repaired roughly around 50 of those, and we have about 29 that have been unconfirmed, and nine out of that 29 confirmed as of today. And so we'll be working to address those. If we do need to bring in additional contractual help, I have a meeting today with my supervisors, and we will discuss the ongoing strategy this week. But we do want our residents to know that we are doing everything within our power to try and get the water restored to all of our residents. And we understand the frustration, we understand the complaints, and, solely they're right. But I do want to stress that we are doing everything that we can. We did not expect this to happen, but we're dealing with the aftermath of it. And we're also dealing with the science of how the water system was designed, and whether, we can't change that fact, but what we can do is put all of our efforts in trying to correct it and moving forward with the restoration process that we're working with now. So we continue to ask for patience, but know that work is being done. Efforts of restoration have begun in the city, and we will continue all of our efforts until the job is done. Thank you.
I actually went a little out of sequence to speak to another area that we wanted to address within this press briefing. I'll return back to some other points to add with respect to our water crisis. In returning back to not only the recognition of COVID-19 Memorial Day, I also want to announce a collaboration between the City of Jackson, between our COVID task force, several health partners, and also the Mississippi Department of Health, as we will be launching a vaccination day. On March 6th, we will have a vaccination day where we will be attempting to vaccinate 2,000 individuals across the city. And so the phone lines are open as of 2 p.m. Today. They will be open so that we can register individuals. The state guidelines with respect to eligibility are still in play with respect to this vaccination day. Those individuals who are 65 years of age or older, health care workers are eligible. I believe if you are 16 years of age and older and have a chronic health condition, you are eligible, and I ask that you go to check what some of those conditions are. Things like whether you have a respiratory condition, whether you are considered medically obese, whether you are a smoker. Those are some of the factors that would make you eligible to get the vaccine at this time. And so we ask that everyone call and get registered. We want to register you, and we need to register you before the actual event so that we know what doses we need, so that we can have all of the requisite medical personnel on hand in order to fulfill this day. I really want to thank not only Dr. Dobbs and the Department of Health, but I really want to take the opportunity to thank all of those professionals, both medical professionals and people who have expertise in terms of how it affects our economy, for their support, for their aid in drafting policy, for coming up with ideas like this. And this has truly been an initiative in which they have truly, started and moved ahead. And so I'm grateful for them. I don't immediately see the number on here, but we will provide that to the media so that you can call and sign up for Vaccination Day, which is once again March 6th, and that will be at the Jackson Convention Complex. March 6th at the Jackson Convention Complex. I want to let everyone know that the water distribution efforts are ongoing. Today, you will find non-potable water, which is flushing water. This is water that is not intended to be consumed. You should not drink non-potable water. That will be provided at Forest Hill High School, which is at 2607 Raymond Road, Raines Elementary, which is at 156 North Flag Chapel Road, Callaway High School, 601 Beasley Road, Provine High School, 2400 Robinson Road, New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, 140 Maple Street, Davis Road Park, which is at 5901 Terry Road in Byron, Mississippi, Walton Elementary, which is at 3200 Bailey Avenue. Bottled water distribution will be provided today. The distribution locations are once again Forest Hill High School, Provine High School, New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, and Davis Road Park. Tonight at the Metro Center, beginning at 5 p.m., the city will be hosting a bottled water distribution until supplies are depleted. And so we ask that you listen out for that. So through the course of this winter emergency, we know that not only has the city's infrastructure been interrupted, but that often leads to problems within individual residents' infrastructure within their homes. I want to be clear. This is a reminder that citizens can get bill adjustments for repairs needed to pipes. Bring a copy of your plumber receipt or a receipt for parts purchased to an appliance at an appliance counter to WSBA. That's our water billing department. And one of our customer service representatives will be happy to assist you. You can also call 601-960-2000. 601-960-2000. I want to also remind our residents that the call volume at 311 is still high. We ask that residents leave a message stating their full name, phone number, address, and situation. In addition to calling 311, residents can also call 601-960-1111 or 601-960-1778. If you have any questions, we're prepared to answer them at this time. Yes, sir.
Former Mayor Tony Yarber has tweeted out that in 2015 he called it an emergency executive order for the city, basically predicting that we were facing this kind of dilemma, that action should have been taken then, and we knew this was coming. Do you have any reaction to that?
None. I really don't spend a lot of time looking back as I do looking forward, and I know that I'm not the first mayor to deal with this crisis of an aging and failing infrastructure. I wasn't president at that time, so I don't know all of the circumstances that he encountered in terms of his executive order, and I don't know what the resistance may have been at that time. What I do know is that the repairs to our infrastructure, the repairs to our aging pipes and roads are long overdue. I know that we have, we make millions of dollars of investment into it each and every year as a city. We constantly invest into, our pipes, our water treatment facility, the sewage, the roads, all of these things that our residents depend on. But we're making millions of dollars of investment when we have about a $2 billion issue overall. And so we need the understanding, and we know that we're not the only city in this position. Many of our legacy cities around the nation, those are aging cities that have been around for quite some time, are dealing with the issues of crumbling infrastructure. And so I think that this is the moment that not only do we have the recognition and we should get the support from the state, but we should also get the support of the federal government as well.
In South Jackson, it was in January, I don't know if Dr. Williams can answer this, there was still part of that water outage was finding where it occurred. What is the dilemma in South Jackson regarding these breaks? Why are they hard to pin down and repair?
I'll ask Dr. Williams to expound on that particular point. But in terms of where we are today with this issue, the reason that South Jackson is as challenged as it is because of its distance from the facility in which it distributes water. There are other challenges that threaten water service on a day-to-day basis that take place in the midst of any given week, from breaks to a number of other factors, but I'm sure he can elaborate on all of that.
We have proactively been providing a list of breaks to the media, and some of those breaks have been pretty much over the entire city. I can't necessarily say that the issue in South Jackson is as a result of breaks, more so than as a result of pressure or a lack of pressure. And when you look at areas over at Forest Hill or Brooklyn, those are higher elevated areas. And so the narrative that we wanted to present up front was, why did we need to get up to a certain PSI level? Well, the reason that we needed to get up to that certain PSI level was because the plants were designed to push water from O.B. Curtis at the reservoir to those areas and down south. And in order for you to achieve that, you need to be consistent with that pressure around 90 psi in order to get that water to those elevated areas. And that has been a struggle for us for the past week, is that consistency. And if we can be consistent over the next couple of days, we will achieve that, but we just got this, we got to stay with it. And we've been challenged with, the system got so far down, and really we got behind. And now we're trying to play catch up. And the difficult part of trying to find a definitive timeline is, we rarely have been in that circumstance of trying to build ourselves back so far down in this hole and trying to get back up to level. So that's where some of the abundance of the issue is. It's just trying to maintain that pressure so we can get that water to those elevated areas.
I remember we talked about this over a year ago, that there were sections of the water system that you weren't exactly sure which had valves that were turned on, which went which direction. Do you have a firm grasp of where these pipes lay and where the valves for shut off and shut on exist?
Well, we found that out in 2018. So when we were circling the city and we had over 200 breaks, and we had some of the well water get into the surface water off of that side. And so we found a lot of intel at that particular time. And that right now, I think, is not about a lack of knowledge where those pipes are. Right now, it's just the ability of getting water from the treatment plant to those areas that are high elevated.